going to tell you my secret now. I see dead people.
Welcome to Blondes and Boos. You are about to embark on a journey, one that often leads to more questions than answers. But fear not, your host, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy have the experience, the perseverance, and yes, even the gifts to pull back the veil and allow us to glimpse the other side. They will share not only their experiences, but will introduce you to world-renowned researchers and experiencers to help you find answers in the murky waters of what we call the paranormal. Their bonds with each other reach far beyond friendship, resulting in a pull-no-punches approach to the many subjects they explore. Their goal? To open eyes, hearts, and even minds to what lies on the other side, and the answers residing there.
Hey everybody, welcome. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. And as you can see, Brandy is not here.
No, she's not.
No, we have you.
Yeah, I'm not as pretty as Brandy.
You do just as good of a job, though.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely, you do. If anybody, I guess everybody don't know, but she's down in Oklahoma with Tex. And I know Jason's down there, and several of them, they're doing a fish fry on Saturday. So, or I guess Saturday, that's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, boy, today, the time really does fly. Tonight's Friday night, tomorrow's Saturday, the fish fry.
Right.
I think he's expecting a nice turnout, Tex over there. And
Yep. So they are all down there, and Rob was gracious enough to hop in for Brandy. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime. It's almost like I talk to you guys every day. It's almost like every other day we're on each other's shows. And
right.
Of course, you are my lovely co-host.
Yep.
Now starting Tuesday nights at 9.
Yep. Tuesday nights.
You and Tex flip-flopped. So instead of having you at noon on Thursday, noon Central, I got you Tuesday night at 9, 8 Central, 9 in the East.
Yeah. So looking forward to that because I started a new job. That was the reason for the switching, and Tex went to different hours. So it worked out,
Yes, it's kind of how that is, that works out perfectly. What should we say? The gods, the YouTube gods, or whatever you want to say, kind of, they all came together.
That's right.
Synchronicity.
That's right.
Synchronicity. So
yeah, since Brandy's not here and you're playing Brandy, you want to remind everybody what to watch this week?
Oh yeah, sure. Why not, Brandy? Brandy, Krista.
You do such a great job of it.
I'm used to it. Thanks for everybody for coming on to the Blondes and Boos. Of course, I'm Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and that is Krista. I'm the co-host, of course, tonight, playing the role of Brandy. Don't forget, on Mondays, it is Texas Front Porch. Tex and Brandy come on Mondays now at 8 o'clock in the East, starting Monday. They went back 1 hour. Tuesdays is Beyond BMR, now with Rob and Krista. Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock in the East. On Texas Front Porch, you have the Diva Dimension, 9 in the East. Thursdays, right back with me and Tex now, Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob, 1 o'clock in the East. Thursday nights is the Blondes, the Boos, the Paranormal Podcast. They come on at 9 o'clock in the East. And if you need some woo with the Blondes and the Boos, well, you got them Friday nights at 9 in the East with, of course, Krista and Brandy again. Saturdays, of course, Infamous Minds with Texas Front Porch and Miss Diva. They come on Saturday at 3 o'clock in the East. And that's the lineup. We also do recommend you check out Barton Nunnelly on his YouTube channel. We recommend also Midwest Night Watchers and Donnie Cho.
Yep.
You can find them on YouTube as well. And there's some people we trust. They have great shows. Donnie is a riot. Does a good job. He's a little break. You know, we all talk about all these cryptids, Krista, and all this sometimes dark stuff. And Donnie is a very enlightening. So he has a nice comedic twist on his show. So it's a little different than what we all do.
Yeah.
And he does a fantastic job.
He does. I enjoy his shows for sure.
And for everybody new, please subscribe to, of course, the Blondes and the Boos, Texas Front Porch, Bigfoot, Mr. Rob, and the rest. And, of course, Mr. Barton Nunnelly, who will be joining us. And Barton's always full of information, full of true accounts from the people that respect him and send in their stories, their accounts. And Mr. Barton has a little different look on things with the inhumanoid aspect of it, which he schooled me on that about a year ago. And I got to tell you, he's pretty spot on with a lot of things he says. I agree with a lot of what Barton says. And I'm certainly a supporter of Mr. Nunnelly.
Me too.
And that's going to be a fantastic show tonight, I do believe.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and just bring Bart up. Hey there.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
Hey, Bart.
Good, Krista. How are you? Hey, Brother Rob. How you doing, man?
Good.
Pretty good. Thanks, man.
I am good. Real quick shout out to Sherry. Thank you very much.
Hello, Sherry. Good to see you, hon.
Yeah. So you're just a wealth of information, Bart, when it comes to this kind of stuff. You know that, right?
Well, that's what they say, Krista. I've been doing this a long time.
Yes,
I've been on doing this stuff since 1985, and I got to have a lot of adventures in between now and then. I just got back from a really cool couple of days down to LBL, running up and down those haunted hills and hollers with my fellow Brotherhood of the Wolf members, and got to do a live stream with Cryptid Studies Institute on Halloween night. That was cool.
Yep.
Eli and Gabby, and afterwards, we all explored a little bit of the LBL, and War Criminal took us to a place where even he was too scared to go.
Wow.
He said, brother, I don't go down this place. It just creeps me out. I get to this road and I feel like something's living down this road, so I don't even come here. So that's where we went. And it's a little road next to a bay. It didn't have a name or number on it. So we drove to this crossroads, and we decided to do our second live stream of the night. And it was a really, really weird place, Krista. I don't know if you watched the video or not, but
I did.
Yeah, someone had used zip ties to put funeral flowers up onto the trees, really, really, really high up, like 10 to 12 to 15 feet up off the ground. It was really strange. I didn't quite get to film all that I should have. I was kind of overwhelmed at seeing such a strange place,
Yeah.
There was a couple of trees with zip ties on them that the flowers were gone from way up high.
Wow.
Someone had a length of wire coiled up and hanging up on a tree. It had a slip knot at the end of it. So, yeah, it was really weird, really weird.
When you guys were down there, did you guys get the feeling of being watched or anything in that area?
No, we had several unexplained sounds. And when we first pulled up, we was getting out of the car. Letitia got out first, and we were right beside some bushes, and she heard a tree snap right in those bushes behind her, jumped back in the car really quick. And then I was in the process of doing the live stream, so I hit the button, and that's basically where we went live from that point.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never seen her move that quick before.
Yeah.
It was pretty impressive, I tell you that.
Yeah. That's a really cool.
Yeah, so we explored all around. I went down the road that War Criminal 7, he's down there in LBL a lot, hunting and stuff like that, and exploring, and sometimes all by himself, which is going to be pretty brave to do that. But I got to go down that road a little ways before my flashlight started to die. Got to run up on the side of this hill, walked up that, and there's tree breaks everywhere, and just noises, and it was a strange place. It was the strangest place I've ever seen at the Land Between the Lakes, for sure. And
Well-
I just call it Nameless Bay because I don't know exactly the name of it. Like I say, the road doesn't have a name or a number. And the closest cemetery is a pretty good ways away from this place. And,
Yeah.
there's at an old crossroads too. So
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If, war criminal, he goes to the LBL all the time, spends the night out in the middle of the woods by himself all the time. And that says something if he wouldn't go down that, because he's pretty brave fellow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love War Criminal 7. He's my brother. Fellow Brotherhood of the Wolfman.
Yeah, I've never
Thanks,
met War.
if he's in this chat, I can't see the chat, but if you're in there, War, thanks for chauffeuring us around for 2 or 3 days down there, man. It was a pleasure.
I haven't seen War in there yet, but Anna's in here, and so is Michelle. And
Hello,
so
Anna, Michelle.
Mark Maycheck is in here. So
hello there, broski.
Other members of Brotherhood of the Wolf are in there too.
Yeah, a lot
hello,
of
the chat.
A lot of cool people coming on in chat, and War Criminal is extremely cool. I've never met him. He's a good friend of my channel, and I've talked to him. He's a good guy, and you guys have met him personally. And you mentioned Bart really quick, if I could ask Krista, that he does some hunting down there. And I realize that this community, and this is whatever you want to call it, right, when it comes to these creatures, how you're surprised he's a brave man for hunting down there. With all of the publicity, I guess the word of mouth about the LBL and his past and what goes on over there, are there a lot of hunters there, Barton? I mean, are there people that are just...
A lot of hunters there every year. It's a lottery type deal. You have to put your name in, and they draw your name out. So only there's a limited amount of hunters, but they're all over the place, and from youth hunt to most dangerous time is, of course, the deer hunting season. And it's the youth hunt begins this weekend, and several of my friends are down there, and just advise them to be careful. It'd be terrible to just step out in the woods and get killed by a 12-year-old firing a deer slug for the first time. So just be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping, I know, we all have plans to go down there in several weeks, and I'm hoping you'll take me to that spot.
Definitely going back to Nameless Bay. I wish I'd have found that in the daytime. I'm sure I missed a lot of details, and thinking back, there's a lot of things I wish I'd looked and done differently, but especially along the beach, Well,
maybe when we're there in a few weeks, we can go. Let's everybody just wear some bright orange, being in the woods, and maybe not too far to go to.
I tell you what, Bart, I can't get down there in a few weeks. I know you guys have something planned, but I too want to become a brother. And we got to
open invitation, Rob, anytime, bro.
Well, I tell you what, when I get time to do it, I'm gonna be calling you and say, look, man, I'm driving on down or flying down. Krista knows I don't like to fly. So
sounds good, man.
I'm definitely gonna see that place. It's gonna be in under 12 months. I guarantee you that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I got a lot of videos. Got at least 4 videos backed up, waiting to be edited about LBL. So we got a lot of good content and coming up. And anytime you're ready to come down, you just let me know, Rob.
I will.
Yep. Anna, she just made a comment, and she says, "Yep, I'm getting something orange to wear on our trip." And I am too. I actually pulled out an orange vest, hunting vest from the basement to take for that weekend, because we don't want to sit around camp all day, do we?
No, there's some safe places that we can go, but we definitely don't want to go deep into the woods like War Criminal and all of us did a couple of days ago. And that wouldn't be too advisable, but we'll see what we can do. We always have a good time no matter what down there, Krista.
Absolutely.
We eat like kings and queens, and everything is just it's more like a family reunion than it is a meeting or a gathering. So yeah,
absolutely is.
We're gonna have a good time no matter what.
Yep. And here's the thing too, like people go out and they say, they go camping and they're all drinking and partying it up. We don't. We just go most of the time. I would say 90% of the time we're all sober and we're just sitting around having a good time talking, and you know. So
and it's the best time ever.
It is. It truly is. It truly is. I know you've had a Thunderbird encounter. Can you talk about that?
Sure, that was a long time ago, 1998, summer of 1998, and me and my wife at the time were driving down the bottoms of the river bottoms of Geneva, Kentucky, Smith Mills, Klondike Road. Just had a tornado come through a couple of days before, and I was driving pretty slow. The road was wet, and it was a gravel road, but still rutted. And I had to get out several times to remove tree limbs and stuff. And we've been down there an hour or two, and decided to come back. And on the way back, I was still driving slowly. But my ex-wife said, "Look at that over over there by the trees. Who's this guy think he is? The Red Baron or something?" And I didn't think much of it. I was intent on getting out of there, and I really wasn't paying much attention to her. She did that. She said that about 4 or 5 times, and finally, I just looked over, glanced really quickly, and I knew immediately that it was some type of bird.
Wow.
But my wife's brain wasn't. It wouldn't take in that information, right? She kept saying it was a hang glider or a small plane or an ultralight or something like that. And when she said hang glider, I thought to myself, well, there's no place for a hang glider to take off here or anywhere around these parts, And that's when I finally looked over there, and what it was like a bird. It was solid red, didn't have any feathers, had real long, thin wings, and it had a short, stout neck, short, stout looking beak, had a knob on the back of its head. It had the feet and legs of an eagle or something like that. It had tufts of hair right above each foot, and one little ring of hair right around the foot. And the feet looked just like any other raptorial bird, and it looked like it was coming down. And I could tell from the wingspan, the wingspan had to be 20 feet or so. This thing probably would have stood 5 foot tall if it was standing in the middle of the road. The wings, to me, the first thing that struck me was, how in the world is it flying with those long, skinny wings like that? And I couldn't believe my eyes. I just got 3 or 4 quick glimpses of it. And as I was pulling over, I finally got the car stopped, and I got out. And my wife says, "Well, where in the hell do you think you're going?" I said, "I'm going to go over here." So the bird looked like it was landing, and it looked just like a pterodactyl, not a regular bird or
Right.
The typical Thunderbird, black feathers, ringed neck, none of that. So I'm going to go over there and see if I can see that bird. And she said, "Are you crazy? And that thing will eat you up, eat you alive." And she really didn't have a stick or a pocket knife or anything. So I thought better of it and just got back in the car and continued on. But it did look like it was, I never saw it flap its wings. It looked like it was gliding down toward the treetops, and it had its feet outstretched like it was going to land very, very soon, And after about the third glance, it veered off to the right, its right, away from me. And it was going down, and that's about all I saw of it. Had a tail that was curled up behind it. It didn't have a bird-like tail or anything like that. So very strange, probably the most bizarre thing that I've ever seen in my life. Like I said, it was the color was red like a Coca-Cola can, no feathers, no hair except for the feet, and had skin sort of like an elephant. Yeah, 1998 Klondike Road. Yeah, I'll never will forget it.
No.
And I'd like to point out that if not for her, I never would have saw it at all. So it wasn't part of my imagination,
Yeah.
I'm just lucky. I turned and looked at it, or I never would have seen it at all.
Yeah. Wow.
That is really something. And since we're on the subject about this bird, I got to ask you a question. Chris already knows about this, and I don't know what I saw. This happened to me about a month ago. Now, I want to say before I even state this is that there are no turkey vultures around me. The biggest bird, a predatorial bird that we have that I'm aware of in southeast Michigan, we have hawks. Never seen an eagle, never seen anything bigger than a hawk in all my years. I've lived pretty much here for quite my life, mostly. in different cities, but in the same area. And where I live, where I like to go hang out and look for things is down by a creek. It's about 2 blocks from me, but the creek, Barton, it's expansive. It goes about 7 miles. It runs through my city, and I live in the city, but not like a metropolitan city, just your rural basic city. The houses are close to each other, but it's not overrun. It's not a new subdivision. It's rather old. But this creek is about 7 to 8 miles long, and it runs into the Detroit River. It dumps into there at the end of the run for the river, or the creek, I should say. And anywhere on this creek, it goes from 5 feet to 8 feet to 12 feet wide, and it twists and it turns like a horseshoe all around where I live. So that's where I happen to go look for stuff. And about a month ago, of course, I didn't have my phone on me, and it really wouldn't have mattered, to be honest with you. But I was walking the creek, and then I got up to the top of this bridge. It's a paved bridge, and it leads to where I was going to walk up to the gas station. Either side of the creek, it was lined with trees. Now the creek is lined with trees. It's not a forest. It's maybe 20 to 30 feet deep on either side. Maybe it expands out 50 yards in certain sections. And I just happened to stop and look down the creek. There are a lot of carp run through the creek and fish, and I'm looking. I see this. It's a bird. But I stop and I look, what the heck type of bird is this? Because at this section of the creek, Barton, it was maybe 8 feet on either side, from one side to the other, about 8 feet. And I see this thing gliding just above the top of the creek's water, and it had long legs extended down. It appeared to have like talons or something, and it was the talons or the claws or the feet were just hovering above the creek water, trying to grab a fish. But I got to tell you, but it wasn't the color you explained. It was a very dark brown. It really didn't appear to have feathers in the rear end, because I seen this from the rear end side. But I tell you, the thing that struck me most was the feathers. They weren't thin like you described. The thickness was maybe a foot, but the length almost extended to either side of the creek, which was about 8 feet. So maybe we'll call it 6 feet just to put a number there. But it was gliding majestically. And then it just kind of didn't flap the wing at all, and it just kind of kept on going. And I'm like, wow. I'm not suggesting it's a cryptid, a Thunderbird, or anything, but for me, I'd never seen a bird that big, especially since all my life.
What kind of neck and head did it have, Rob? Did you notice?
All I couldn't even really see the head. It wasn't standing up. It looked like it was down on the back. There was like feathers coming back from a head area, which I guess was coming off of the head, but I didn't see a beak. Again, I saw from the rear end, and I really didn't get a good glimpse of the head, other than feathers were in the back where the head would be. It was kind of like combed back, if you will, and kind of long.
What about the back legs? Were they
were
long,
like
or were they short?
They were long. They remind me. I will tell you this: they're probably they dangle down they seem like they're like a foot long, but very frail, very thin. But at the end of the legs was like an oversized claw that was too big for the legs. Actually, you know what I mean? It looked like they were more of a scooping hand, or to grab something out of the water.
Have you ever seen a great blue or white heron crane up there?
I've seen, actually, we've seen a blue heron here. There was one in my backyard maybe about 4 or 5 years ago.
So did it look like that at all?
Again, that in my backyard I saw up close, and it was kind of sitting there perched. But this, as far as the color, this thing was like a dark brown. What I saw at the creek in my yard, it was like a bluish color, right?
Right.
And
they're different colors. They have the largest crane is I think it's a sandhill crane, and it's brown in color. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, but the thing that's just, I mean, do cranes, do their wings get that long? That I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I would say the sandhill cranes, their wingspan's about 6 feet.
Okay, so maybe that's what I saw.
Usually, the largest raptorial bird we have on the USA would be the California condor. So their wingspans get 6 to 8 feet, maybe 10. So yeah, we have some big birds. And I'm telling you, I lived my whole life in this place. So to be honest, I can tell the difference between a turkey vulture and a crane, or a chicken hawk, or an owl. And now we have eagles. But I can tell you the difference between all those birds at least a quarter mile away.
Yeah.
This was no bird that was native to this area, period.
Yeah.
Never seen a bird fly without feathers, first of all. I've never seen long, skinny wings like that.
Yeah.
A tail that curled up underneath was definitely not a bird tail.
Thank you,
like
Blazer. Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Blazer for becoming a member. Thank you.
Thanks, Blazer. And yeah, again, I'm not suggesting this was anything outside of a bird, but for me, when I seen it, it was like, holy smokes. I did see the crane, as I mentioned, 4 or 5 years ago in the backyard, which was big, but to see this extended wingspan and just majestically going down the creek, for me, for where I live, that was really out of the ordinary. And I guess it does happen. I'm suspecting it was a bird of some sort, perhaps a brown crane, if they become brown, as you said.
Yeah, sandhill crane. Yeah,
sandhill crane. Okay. And I said, and again, this does dump into the Detroit River. Now, if you go to the river, there's all sorts of birds in that area, but still very few cranes.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I've never seen any like weird birds or, anything like that. I'd like to, though, because I feel like, so did either of you guys feel like it was big enough it could have harmed you, the birds that each of you saw?
I'm really quick with my answer. No, I was just in awe. I thought it was just some majestic bird of some sort. And I didn't think Thunderbird or cryptid, or I didn't think pterodactyl. Yeah. It just struck me that this is not in my part of town.
Gotcha.
So I just want to ask
my answer to that, Chris, would be definitely yes. This thing was at least 5 foot tall, it's from head to feet, and it had a beak, a strong looking beak. It wasn't open, so I can't tell you if it had teeth or not, but definitely big enough to eat someone who was unarmed, say, or was running through the trees, and where it could drop down, and someone stupid enough to run after it without so much as a pocket knife or a stick,
Yeah. Well, it looks like War Criminal's in chat now, and his ears must be burning. We were just talking about him. That's funny.
Yeah, we were.
That's hilarious.
War Criminal's a great guy.
Yes.
A great member of the Brotherhood. It's can't meet a nicer guy than that fellow right there.
Agreed. Definitely agree. So what made you, I know your story, and I don't know if others do. So what made you actually decide to go out? I know your encounter when you were a child and your family was tormented. What made you decide to pursue that? And I'm not talking the LBL, just in general.
Well, I read a book by Lauren Coleman called Mysterious America. And I thought, man, that must be the coolest job in the world, to go talk to people who had experiences like your own or whatever, and catalog them and just travel around investigating this stuff. And that's what inspired me to start. And I'd like to say I had a big head start because of my childhood. A lot of things to look into right off the bat. But that's what inspired me right there. It was one book by Lauren Coleman, Mysterious America.
Gotcha.
I'd have to give him credit for that.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. You know what? I didn't realize we've got all kinds of questions here on the Thunderbird that you saw. So if you don't mind, do you mind answering a couple of these?
No, if I can, sure.
Okay. Moon at Noon asked, what's your theory on where they roost?
Well, if they're actual physical creatures that somehow still live, I guess in this dimension, you'd say, they would have to roost upside down like a bat. Mm-hmm. I would say. I don't know how they could achieve flight with wings like this one had. It would seem to be impossible. They would have to climb up to a high spot and drop down. to fly. You know, I've never seen a bat take off the ground either.
Yeah.
Come to think of it. So definitely they would have to roost up high like a bat, in my opinion. Now, I'm no expert on pterodactyls or unknown avians, but that's my opinion.
Okay. I could see that. Let's see. Next, it's not really a question. It's just a comment. Be Kind said, Barton, your description is very helpful and specific.
Thank you. I'll try to be helpful and as specific as I can be.
That's right. That's
usually.
Right. Yes. Werewolf asked, was it a straight beak or hooked?
No, it was kind of hooked. It was kind of curved, not straight, like say a hummingbird or something like that. It was a hooked beak.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Spillin' Tea says, Barton, do you think the Thunderbird saw you guys?
Well, I don't see how it could have missed us. There was a road that we were on. It was a field about 300 feet wide, and then the tree line, and it was coming down right over the tree line. But if it did, we didn't seem to bother it any. It was coming down when I saw it, and it was still coming down. Looked like for a landing when it disappeared from my sight. So I don't think we bothered it at all.
Okay. Two Shadows asked, could they roost under bridges? Good question.
Well, I'd say as long as the bridge is high enough for them to drop down and fly, that would be the main consideration with these things, I guess. But you know, it's just so hard to believe, Krista and Rob, that pterodactyls are still flying around the skies of America. I mean,
right.
Everyone should be seeing them, right? If that were the case. This was an area that was known for a lot of different unexplained phenomena that took place around there. Bigfoot sightings and UFO sightings and ghosts and graveyards and Indian burial mounds all around this place. So maybe it was there, maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm not going to get into all kinds of quantum stuff, but two people saw it, and so to me that means it was actually there to see. Now where it went and where it is now, why anyone else hasn't seen it since, I cannot say.
Mm-hmm. Right. KD7 asks, hi, Barton. Do you think that Thunderbirds are smart like humans or like dragons are in legends?
I don't know. I've only had the experience with one, and I really didn't get to gauge its intellect or anything like that. I would say if they're actually here with us all the time, they would have to be smart to avoid being seen or shot or something like that, you know.
Right.
When the whole time we lived in the country, which is half my life, all my young life, if anything like that would have flew over us, we'd have shot it without a doubt. So, and we're not the only ones, you know. Us Kentuckians we're known for shooting first and then asking questions later when everything's safe. But yeah, we
kind of like Missouri.
Right, we definitely would have put holes all through that thing. So that's an argument there that it might not be common or even. I don't know. It even belongs to this dimension. I don't know.
Right.
Weird area, weird, bizarre sighting, something that I cannot explain.
Right.
That's the story of my life, really.
Your whole life has been, I get it. You got a lot of questions coming through here. Maidservant asked, was there a bad smell as there is with other creatures?
This thing was about 350 foot away, so no, I can't say it was a smell.
Yeah. If
there was, we were too far away to smell it.
Right. Gotcha.
And it might be an important detail that this was a really, really strong tornado that swept through that year, and it killed several people in the area. So,
right,
everything was messed up, and the trees were everywhere, tree limbs, and Jenny Hole is where exact place that it happened, along the Jenny Hole in the Slows Wildlife Management Area, Smith Mills, Kentucky, Klondike Road. So you get anybody that's in that area, you want to check that out sometime, keep your eyes open, and if you see anything strange,
right,
be sure and say something.
Yep. Contact Bart. For sure. So these are different kind of questions here. Blazer asked, have you had a near-death experience?
No.
No.
I've been close to dying a couple times in car wrecks, and almost been hit by cars. And when I was 10, I was swept away in a flood. So yeah, I've been close to dying a lot of times, but thanks to the grace of the good Lord, I came through, and I've never actually died. And
Yeah.
hope I don't anytime soon.
Right. Mike A asked, Barton, where did you come across nightmare? And that's a good question. Not only come across nightmare, but how did you develop nightmare with the beast at the LBL? What made you? Because I know what your mission is out there with nightmare.
Right. So it appears to me that bullets aren't capable of killing these things, and we got a lot of women and children getting attacked or come up missing in the LBL, and I just wanted to put an end to it. And
Sure.
I figured if bullets can't do it, then edged weapons probably can, and that's nightmare. I came across a blade in a flea market. It was a big, heavy blade, and I thought it was cast iron.
Mm-hmm.
It was so heavy, but it didn't have a handle or a pommel. So I bought it thinking it was cast iron, and I took it to my brother. Makes all my weapons for me, my spears and tomahawks and stuff like that. I took it to him and asked him to put handle on it and pommel, make it a usable weapon. So he did that, and we sharpened it up, and we found it is actually cobalt steel that someone had spray painted black.
Wow.
So it's actually cobalt steel.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, my logic on that is if bullets can't kill it, then maybe a sword or a spear can.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm out there in LBL trying to keep my word to a friend of mine that passed away a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's my mission.
That's a commendable mission, and I've heard you speak on this many times. And if bullets can't do it, perhaps a blade will. So with what you're talking about now, though, you're of the opinion that it is a flesh and blood and can be killed. What about those and the experiences of things that are more of an ethereal nature? Are we talking about two separate subjects when it comes to humanoids?
Yes, we are. We have the evil spirits of the earth or the shapeshifters, and stuff like that. We're definitely supernatural element involved in all that stuff. But I think what we have at the LBL and other national parks around the country are creatures that are being created by the government through genetics. And I think they've been doing it for a long time. So, I'm no expert. Trust me, I've never seen a Dogman or a whole Dogman. I think I seen the leg of one 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I can't really tell if it was, what it was for sure. But no expert on Dogmen or werewolves, but if it's a flesh and blood creature down at LBL, like I think it is, then I think I'll be all right. But if it's not, if it's a supernatural one, then it'll probably be the end of me. So,
yeah. So, and again, we have a newer audience, so I'm these things I've asked you before. I hate to be redundant, but
no, it's okay, Rob. Go ahead, brother. Ask.
But in your perspective, which I pretty much kind of am in the same camp with a lot of these things, because I do believe that the government has created something in humanoid, we could say, right? I used to say humanoid before I met you, but I think that they have been released. I think that we have these underground military bases, DUMBs, if you will, and I think experimentation has been going on for several decades. And I do believe that the government or agencies, I should say, ABC agencies, probably have released these in our national states, parks, and forests, and they could be just a small factor of what we today know as the 411. The missing 411.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. So it would seem to me, though, if they release these things on a permanent basis, that there will be a lot more slaughter and destruction going on. So if they are indeed releasing these things, it's probably for short periods of time so they could feed. And then I would assume if all this is happening, which I know it's just stretches the limits of your ability to understand why they would do this. But if they are doing this and they have some kind of control over these inhumanoids that they're creating, so I think they're letting these things out for short periods of time to feed, and then they're bringing them back in to wherever they keep them underground.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a theory, you know. I'm hoping one day I'm down there and one of those hidden doors opens and I can see what comes out for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you know, when you put it that way, that, you know, a theory, of course, where they would be released to feed. And of course, we know that perhaps they are feeding on humans as well as animals. Just makes me wonder and cringe about what the government could be feeding them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and technically there's no limit to what kind of chimeras they can create.
Right.
There's no limit. They can do whatever they want. They've been doing it since the late 40s.
Yeah.
When they brought the Nazi scientists over here, Operation Paperclip, and they over 1,600 Nazi scientists that they brought over, top scientists that we didn't want Russia to get. So we took them, and they escaped the Nuremberg trials, and they were assimilated into our society quietly and seamlessly, really. So yeah, that was one of the experimental type things that Hitler had. He was interested in the occult and all the things that he can do by gene splicing, and you know, it's I think it's just his people just continued it on right here under our own government's view. So
yeah, we got a lot of people in chat talking about the metal and the door sound. Now, I will tell you, which I know, Bart, you know this, but a lot of people in chat don't. Brandy and I actually heard like a door closing, and we have that on a recorder. Do you remember that? That was in May.
Yeah.
Down there at the cemetery. So
right.
Yeah, I mean it happens. People hear that. You know, Martin Groves, didn't he hear the metal too?
Yes.
That's what I
He didn't know
thought.
what it was, and when I first heard his story and I first talked to Martin, he asked me what I thought it was, and I said, sounds to me like metal doors opening and closing. So hidden metal doors. So however they do that, I mean, that would be logical.
Yeah.
To assume that that's what's making that sound. I don't know anything else that would make that sound. I don't think an actual portal, when it opens, I do believe in portals because I saw one myself when I was 9 years old, but I don't think when portals open, they make such a calamitous noise. So I think that the metal sound everyone's hearing is likely the sound of metal doors opening or closing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's pretty scary stuff. There was another question here, real quick, and we can go back to this, but Spill and Tea asks, have you had nightmare blessed?
Yes. All my weapons have been blessed, except for Midnight, which is the sword I just got like a year ago or so. But Johnny Henderson of Cryptid Studies Institute, he was an ordained minister. He blessed all my weapons, my spears, my knives, my bowies, several of my tomahawks, and nightmare. So yes.
Yep. A couple of people want to hear about the portal. Can you talk about that?
Sure.
What you missed?
The portal I saw, you know, I was 9 years old, and I had no understanding of the things that was really going on around us. You know, it was at the time we were living in the house in Spotsville where we had all that creature trouble. And then we were all coming home from town. We had a driveway that was about a half a mile long, a gravel driveway. We were rounding a curve. My brother and I, we'd get like one comic book a month or so. And that's the only reason we'd go in town with Mom was to get that one comic. So just got done reading our comic book, and I looked up at the sky. We were coming around a curve in the road, and there's some trees right there beside us. And I looked up in the sky. There was this big cloud bank in the middle of it, just opened up into a perfect circle. It was amazing, really.
Mm-hmm.
And inside the circle, I saw what looked like a medieval castle.
Mm-hmm.
And it had two long spires, one on each side of it. And from each point of the spires, there was a red pennant waving in the breeze, And I could see it so plain and perfectly. I could see that it had a large, round door, wooden door, and it had iron framework on the door. And I could see it so well that I could probably count the stones used to build this castle. And I reached over to my brother and I said, Dean, look at this. And he looked over and he saw it too. He said, what in the world? And about that time we rounded that curve. And when we rounded the curve, the cloud had, the opening had closed back and it was just a regular cloud again. And, I always used to think there was just some kind of vision,
Mm-hmm.
that the Lord let me see. I don't know how to explain it or interpret it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, I first came online, there was two people that gravitated to me, almost like mothers. They became my best friends. That was Mary Green, the late Mary Green, the Tennessee Bigfoot lady, and the late Linda Godfrey.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knows Linda,
Yep.
or knew Linda. But they're like, we spoke every day on the phone. And Linda once told me years ago, maybe 20 years ago, she said, Bart, did you ever think that vision that you tell us about was a portal? And, it just hit me that made perfect sense,
Mm-hmm.
It was a perfectly round opening, and inside it was something that wasn't here in this world. So
Yeah.
I do believe it was a portal that I saw when I was 9 years old. And, I spent years and years kind of half-heartedly not even believing in portals. But now I know better. I've talked to so many people that have seen these portals and seen inhumanoids stepping in and out of these things. Definitely believe that portals exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
How they operate or why they're even needed by supernatural creatures, I can't say. But I do believe people are seeing them and seeing things coming in and going out of.
Right.
When you talk about these portals, hey, Barton, where you live anywhere, the creeks in the woods like the back of your hand, correct?
Right.
So I've spoken to people where kind of like you, as far as they know the terrain, the land of the scope of the land, and they've been out there hunting, fishing, not even people that are interested in what we're all talking about, hunters. And I was talking to the guy, said, for the life of me, Rob, I've been going to the same property for years. I know it. I hunt it like my house. And he told me this story about he was out hunting, and then all of a sudden, he did not know where he was. He lost all his senses, the wits about himself, and he felt lost. Even when he went and looked for the sun was in a different spot. He was saying he didn't have a compass. He navigated through where the positioning of the sun, and he was scared. And it took him about 20 minutes before he finally made his way back to familiar ground. So I'm wondering, with a person that's familiar, and this guy was doing this 20 years, so I believe him that what he tells me to be true as far as being lost. Do you think that perhaps he fell into a portal and he got displaced in a different part of the forest, and he was just lucky enough to maybe come back through it? Because from what I understand is if you go through a portal and you can't find the origination of the portal, you're lost and you could never be found.
Right. So when you go through a portal, you're just in a different place. You're not. Right. You're not here. Now, that's what one would expect. So I don't know, Rob, what happened to your friend, but it sure sounds kind of crazy.
Do you think that it was like a
things
portal?
Like that happen? I've talked to one of my friends that just passed here recently. He had a cousin, and they were down in Geneva, and there was a big fog rolled in, and they were parked by the side of the road, and his cousin actually saw himself in the same pickup truck that he was in now, drive out of that fog and pass him right by. And he was certain that it was him from either the past or the future. He didn't know which one, and it was freaked him out. So a lot of weird things happen, you know. And as far as portals go, I hope to never have any experience of accidentally walking through one or anything like that. But I would like to get close to one and tie a rock or something, or go pro to a cord and throw it in there. But don't know what happened to your friend, bro. It sounds bizarre, though.
It's pretty bizarre, and yeah, like you say. And I didn't tell him what my thought, because I thought portal. But I'm thinking that maybe he got in a time glitch that he wasn't unaware of and walked through a portal. But he stayed in the same forest. It's not like he went to a different dimension, but maybe it was a time slip. And he got shot across to a different part of the forest. So he finally regained his cognizance, and then finally his whereabouts came to him and made it back. So in my opinion, I didn't say, "Hey, look, dude, woo, portals." I didn't even think I was off the rocker.
Right.
But that's what I was thinking, right? So I'm thinking maybe perhaps that happened. And again, I'm throwing that out there. I have no idea myself.
Sure, it's all conjecture, brother. And, if time slips are real and possible, maybe human beings aren't the only ones that experience those, right? Maybe that pterodactyl that I saw flying in the sky was experiencing a time slip itself. So lots of possibilities, and very, very little answers or even clues that point toward the right answer when it comes to time slips and portals and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're coming up to the 52-minute mark, so we do have to take a break for the radio stations. And when we come back, I do see lots of questions in there, and I have starred them. So when we come back from break, we'll talk more on this, and then we'll get Barton to answer everybody's questions. So if you guys do have questions, please put them in all caps, because some of them are hard to catch.
Krista, before you go, did you see my text on the new 5-minute break?
No.
About what happened to me?
Oh, I did.
Okay.
We have our own. We have our own now.
Good. Okay, good.
Yep. We're good.
We're
good. So if everybody just stick with us, and we will be back in 5 minutes.
this thing. It's shorter than you think. No think.
Welcome back. Bart will be here in just a minute. And thank you, BMR. Thank you very much.
No problem.
I appreciate that. You know that.
Yep. Very good.
Most definitely. Wow.
Well, I do see some newer people joining us here today.
I do.
And for everybody that just joined us, I'm not Brandy. I'm Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Please subscribe to the Blondes and the Boos Paranormal Podcast, Thursdays and Friday evenings at 9 in the East. And of course, if you're new to me, subscribe to my channel, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, found on YouTube. Barton Nunnelly, awesome man. I respect him. Subscribe to him, and he's coming out with a live show on Wednesdays now, 8 or 9. I don't know the time. Barton can't confirm.
8 o'clock Central.
8 o'clock Central, and of course, Tex from Texas from Porch.
Oh yeah, and Tex has a couple shows out too, Mondays and Saturdays.
Mondays and Saturdays.
Yep.
And yes.
Thank you, Derek. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah. Bart, you got all kinds of questions. I should have just called this
Oh, my
questions and
goodness.
answers with Bart.
You know, Barton, it's always great when a guest comes on and he's bombarded with questions, because you know what that tells me, my friend, is that people respect your opinion, your theory, and they want to learn more, and they're truthers. So for all
Thanks,
you
brother.
folks out there, man, he's the right man to ask these
I'm
questions.
happy to answer. Yeah, I'm happy to answer anyone's questions that I'm capable of answering, and with the truth. That's all I'm interested in, whether it's sensational or mundane. All I care about is the truth, and that's what I offer people. So yeah, fire away.
Yep, you've got a whole bunch here I've started. Let's see here. Mama Taboy says, Barton, how do you feel about astral travel?
I don't know anything about it. I've never done it, so I don't know. People are capable of doing the most amazing things, and I've read about it, but never really attempted anything along that sort of metaphysical path, like that. So I've never. Do I believe in it? Sure, I guess. Yes, anything's possible, but do I know anything about it? No, and I can't pretend that I do. So never done that.
Great. Donnie Cho says stuff. He says, question for Barton. Why not firearms, bows, or crossbows?
Well, Donnie, how's it going there, buddy? No one said I don't have a firearm. So as far as bows, now that's one thing that I never had much access to bows in my life. I never bow hunted. So I'm not so good with that, I would say, without a bunch of practice. I am good with edged weapons, so that's why I use those. And you can bet if I ever swing Nightmare at a Dogman, he'll already have 6 holes in it. So that's my answer.
There you go.
Thanks for asking, Donnie. Good to see you.
Yep. I hear you. So next question, we got more here for you. Let me get to them. Royalty asks, can you ask Barton if he thinks the cryptid will be used against us in the end time? In the end of time, I guess basically is what they're asking.
Yep, I sure do. Everyone goes to the first book of the Bible, and they turn to the first book to learn the how and one possible way that cryptids are here with us, but they don't think to look to the last book of the Bible to see what their purpose is. In Revelation 8, They're called the Beasts of the Earth. You should read that and see what they're a part of and what they're going to do in the end times. Revelation 8, look it up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I just asked you that one. Next question. Barton, have any alphabet agencies approached you?
No, they haven't. I've had mail intercepted and stuff like that, but to my knowledge, I've never been followed or approached by any alphabet agency. I mean, who would care about just an uneducated hillbilly like me, right? So in that way, I have maybe an advantage over someone, with a higher education and a better position as far as social class goes. But yeah, I've had my phone messed with a lot and had my mail intercepted, but no, to my knowledge, I've never been followed or even approached by any alphabet agency.
On the contrary, Barton, I'm going to have to disagree with you because I do happen to think you are a highly intelligent guy.
I was going to say
well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I think the things that you've uncovered and you're preaching the truth to the best of your knowledge and your theories, I think it's something that agencies are aware of. Now,
Sure.
Maybe they have not reached out and threatened you like we've heard many stories in the past, but I'll guarantee you this, and I'm no government agent, they know who Barton Nunnelly is. They know who the Blondes and Boos are. They know anybody
Sure.
that speaks something close or even has a hint of the truth. They've got us. They know who we are and they know where we're at. So yeah, Barton, man, I think that you're an intelligent guy. And
thanks, brother. And the scary thing about that is, with all this AI, if anybody in the government had an agenda against any individual, they can use this AI and the voice recognition software that's in our phones to conjure up I might use those terms, a video of you or I or Krista doing anything that would be considered terrible. Mm-hmm. And might be able to use that in a court of law to even convict you. So, and it would be totally fake. So AI is really destroying everything. It's destroying the credibility of anyone who uses that on their podcast.
Sure is.
And it's really a scary thing. I think there's a reason Elon Musk backed out of that. And I think it's because he knew what the end goal would be. Mm-hmm. Now, what would be the end goal of AI that would scare a guy like Elon Musk?
Right. And
my opinion on that answer would be the complete eradication of humankind. Just like in the movie Predator, we get all these movies that predict things, and the movie Terminator. Mm-hmm. The Predator predicts these things cloaking, and I've taken so many reports that say, I saw something that looked like it was right out of the movie The Predator, and it was just an outline, and that's all I could see. But the Terminator, which concerned itself with AI becoming self-aware, realized that humankind was a virus and waged the war to wipe us out. Mm-hmm. So the difference between Hollywood and reality is if AI became self-aware right now, it would know that it could not wipe out humans and still exist because it needs humans to run the nuclear power plants and all the other sources of electricity, the hydroelectric dams and all this stuff. So it realizes that it cannot wipe us out and still survive. As soon as the electricity runs out, as soon as the lights go off, the AI is dead forever. Mm-hmm. But we're coming up with our robotic replacements for humans at a unprecedented rate. So I believe, AI might be self-aware already. If it is, we wouldn't know it really until the robot workforce that it needs to continue existing is in place. So once that happens, and I think we might all be in for a rude awakening to see just how much Hollywood movies like The Terminator and Predator, how much or how closely they dovetail our reality. Right now, when you say something like that, people are like, "Oh, it's a movie. You're a fool." But the future might bring us some very disturbing answers, I think.
You know, to your point on that, I was reading. I'm a fan of Star Wars ever since I was a little kid when it came out, and I was big into George Lucas, Steven Spielberg. Not so much today, because Hollywood today, I can leave it. I think it's turned
Terrible.
terrible. I think it's demonic. I think there's something going. All the things that we hear. Let's just leave it at this. It's terrible. However, a lot of the ideas that George Lucas had about all these crazy aliens and all these faraway galaxies and the Galactic Federation, they got that. They just did not dream that up by themselves, right? And I was reading something where they had come in contact with people that perhaps were contactees. And again, we're not talking about inhumanoids or cryptids. We're talking about a little out there alien activity, that they got a lot of these from people that had been there. Whether you buy that or not, I don't know. But I think like even like legend and folklore, there's always some truth behind the story, because behind every story, whether it starts in the 1800s or the year 2000, there's always an element of truth behind it. Now, it depends on how much we superficial it and make it into a tale. But there's always, to me personally, I think there's some element of truth behind all of these movies, not all, and all these books and things that we read today.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
next.
I respect you, brother. I respect your opinion. I respect everybody's opinion. Like I say, you don't have to believe like me to be my friend or be my brother.
Right.
But I don't believe in the existence of aliens or extraterrestrials at all, period. I think these little green men are different manifestations from the same source as Bigfoot and Dogman and Mothman and Goatman and Lizardman. And the list goes on, and the kind of government isn't creating itself for Revelation 8 is they're all diabolical. And the reason I say that is because now I'm a man of faith, and I take the word of the Bible, the word of God over the word of man, and nowhere in there does it say that God created any life form on any other planet other than Earth. I know that everybody might say, "Oh, that's just it's a very narrow mind to think that way," but no. The Bible says, "Let God be proven right, and every man be proven a liar." So, if He created other humanoid entities on all these other endless, infinite planets, there's millions and billions and trillions of them, and why are they all wanting to come to Earth? And that's something that we need to know about, right? So He would have put that in there. And there's not one single word about any alien life form in the Bible. So I go with the Bible, what the Bible says, even when it's against what people say. So I don't believe in alien life. I don't believe the universe is, as the scientists falsely so-called, as God calls them. I don't believe the universe is creating itself at 6 million miles an hour every day, every night. So they say it's expanding at 6 million miles an hour. That's not what the Bible says. So call me narrow-minded or whatever.
Well, no.
It doesn't matter. I'm just going by what the good book says, and it doesn't say that at all.
But that's what's so great about you too. I mean, I respect you too, and thank you for respecting
Thanks,
my
brother.
opinion on that. But that's the great thing about how we can sit down and talk about these things, because whether or not you're viewed as narrow-minded or have blinders on, much like myself with certain things, it's always good to have people that have the interests in all of these phenomena, right? That we can sit down and hash these things out, because frankly, that's the only way we all learn. So I appreciate that.
Right. So maybe I can learn a little bit from you, and you can learn a little bit from me, and we can all learn a little bit from Krista, and we all learn a little bit along the way. And that's
absolutely.
I've learned to really dismiss a lot of the BS that's been programmed into us since the day we were born about a lot of things. I realized 4 years ago that we've been lied to about just about everything we know. So Jesus said the truth will set you free, and he wasn't just talking about himself. He was talking about himself, but he was also talking about the truth in all things. So once you learn to ask the right questions, you'll eventually come to the truth. Whatever that is, you're eventually going to come to it, and it's going to be up to you whether you believe it or not. And you can, the truth, like Scotty B says, the truth is out there. The truth about everything is out there. And it's not above our ability to understand and appreciate it. It's sometimes above our ability to believe it. But the truth is the truth. It will never change. Nothing will ever change it. No matter how many people believe it or disbelieve it, it's a rock that doesn't change because it's true and it's a fact.
Krista, you're muted.
Sorry. Ristel makes a good point and says there have been more than a few reported confrontations with the Greys. The invocation of God or Jesus' name will often repel them. So, I mean, that's true. If it's, something
And
that's...
why would it repel anything that's on a good mission or to help mankind? These aliens, quote unquote, it's usually always a negative scenario. They kidnap humans. They run experiments on humans. They impregnate humans. They psychologically terrorize humans. What's so benign about that? And if they're so smart that they can bend the rules of time and space and travel however many light years away,
Yeah.
Why would they be on such a cruel and selfish mission? Why would they want human blood? It seems most of all, they want blood. They want soft tissue of humans and animals. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Is this an angelic agenda? No. Is it a agenda of some super intelligent race or hundreds of races? Because we have hundreds of different reports of the UFOs and the shapes of the UFOs and the colors, and hundreds of different reports of the type of beings that pilot these UFOs. And now they call them UAPs, like that's going to
change.
It's going to make any difference. But hundreds and hundreds of descriptions of these things. So if that's true, then there must be hundreds of different races of aliens out there, right? That can make it to Earth. Why in the world would they all want to come to Earth?
Mm-hmm.
Just think about that.
I have thought about, since I was just talking with you, I just came up with something here regarding you and your not believing in aliens, which I respect. And I'm not saying I'm a fool. I believe there are aliens walking the earth. However, I will say what you just said. I believe in God, but therefore I believe in the devil. I don't worship the devil. I don't condone the devil. So what about this one? These so-called grays. Let's just make it simple. What if they're not from another planet, another world, another galaxy at all? But what if they are the Legion and the army created by Satan himself, put on this planet to create havoc for mankind?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's much closer to the truth than they're from some distant star in the Pleiades star system. I'll tell you, brother. They do have a definite role in what's getting ready to take place. If you notice, the government's invested now in a soft disclosure of the reality of UFOs. Correct?
Correct.
Who could not have noticed that, right, in the last couple of years? And who could not notice the fact that for the last 80 years or so, they've been spending hundreds of trillions of dollars on ridiculing UFO witnesses and debunking anything that abductees say or UFO witnesses say. Mm-hmm. Now they've done a complete 360, and they've come out and said, not blaring headlines, but they let it be known that the UFOs are real, and they don't know what they are, but they think they might be a threat to humanity. Now, don't you think that's kind of odd?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think there must be an agenda behind that? Mm-hmm. Just think about it. These alien, quote unquote, ETs are going to play a big role in something biblical that's going to happen. Hope it's not soon. We pray that the good Lord delays his days of judgment, but the more I see, the more I think that it's coming. And the aliens will have a big role to play, and it will be such a role that will fool even the very elect of God, according to the Bible.
Yeah.
So even the people that he's written down that belong to him, some of those are going to be fooled and led astray and led away from him because they believe in aliens from outer space.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have so much evidence of that. Just think about it.
Right.
Oh my goodness, there's just thousands and tens of thousands of pieces of evidence of ancient aliens, say, for example. That's because these aliens know what's going to happen. They know the Word of God. They know what's going to happen. So they need people to believe in their existence. And they put the evidence there since mankind first walked the earth. They started leaving that evidence because they knew that the time was going to come when they're going to need people to believe a certain way. And they've done a really good job of it. I think recent polls show that 80 or 90% of Americans now believe in the possibility of aliens from outer space. So
yeah,
that's the vast majority of people, brother.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm not one of them. When something happens, whatever it happens, and the government says aliens are doing this, and there'll probably be a bunch of people disappear or die mysteriously. The government's going to say, they're here. Look at all these UFOs in the sky.
Yeah.
It's obvious who's doing this, right? So we need to all pull together. We need to all become one planet, one world, under one government.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably what's coming up for us. So all I can say is don't be fooled. If you think aliens, a lot of people think aliens are going to come save us before the planet gets so messed up and destroys itself. And that's putting your faith in something that doesn't exist over something that does exist, which is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He exists. He existed and he exists now and always has existed. Before they called him Jesus, he was called the Word.
Mm-hmm.
And he was with God always. So don't put your faith in something that doesn't exist. Put it in someone that does. The Bible says that everything that you see with your eye, the sky, the trees, the grass, everything that you can see with your eye is temporary and will disappear, will melt away like wax in the end. Only the things that are invisible, that you can't see with your eye, are eternal. So that's the way I look at it. And, it's a very unpopular opinion. And I told it down at Josh Turner's Texas Bigfoot or Texas Dogman conference, the second one. And I said that I hope that it helped at least one person out there to see what's truly going on with these ETs. And later on, I was outside after it all was over, and this lady approached me and she said, "Barton, I want to introduce myself. My name is such and such, and I just want to say that what you said up there was totally unlike what anyone else said, and it let me know that you're on the right path, and I really haven't paid much attention to you before, but from now on, I'm going to be watching you really closely." So it did have an impact on at least one person, and I'll be glad to be unpopular if it helps someone. Popularity is not what I'm after.
Well, no, I think people
If
that
it comes, it comes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's fine. I'm just telling the truth that as I know it, and I've come to believe it, and it can stick where it sticks, and it can slide off where it won't stick. So
I think some people, Barton, that would agree you as unpopular is because they're scared of the truth. I mean, some of the things you just said resonates with me, and that's why I enjoy talking with you, because some of the things you said I never really thought of. But I'm different, I guess, because I respect everyone and what they have to bring to the table, because that's the only way we learn.
Right.
And in the past 5 minutes, dude, I learned a lot, and that's because of what you just talked about. And I got to thank you for that, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, brother. Just hopefully I can make you think a little bit. And when you think about it, the ET hypothesis doesn't hold up. The evidence is there, but because it's been placed there, I mean, do you really think that we could have built those pyramids ourselves 5,000 or 6,000 years ago? Come on, we didn't even have the wheel, but yet we have these huge monoliths to alien technology, and which enforces the belief in these ETs even more. We have them all around the earth. So You look at that and look at it in a different light, you'll see that it's there for a reason, and the reason is belief. Belief is the most important thing to these inhumanoids. You know, they want you to believe a certain way. And if they can manifest as a Bigfoot or missing link, quote unquote, that's what they'll do. And if they manifest as a ET in a flying spaceship, that's what they'll do. But it's all to get you to believe one way or another in something that's anti-biblical and anti-God. And you're talking about the truth, brother, and the popularity. The truth is the most unpopular thing that you could ever offer anyone, ever. They'll run from the truth. They'll fight it. They'll kick it. They'll spit at it. They'll step right over it to believe the next comfortable lie, right?
Yeah.
Well, they don't want the truth. And when you give it to them, it's like biting into a lemon. It's really sour, and most walk away.
Sure.
You know, if you summed up tonight's show, the bottom line is this: people are afraid of the truth and don't want to believe in the truth.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. The truth is out there, and you can't find it. The question is whether or not you're going to believe it. So, you know, I hope everyone has success in their journey. You know, we have so many people out there looking through all these unexplained phenomena, especially the inhumanoid phenomena, which they mistakenly call cryptid phenomena.
Yeah.
They're not cryptids at all. There's no such thing as a partly human or semi-human cryptid,
right,
or animal. These things are, you know, the definition of cryptid is simply a natural animal that's rumored to exist but hasn't yet been discovered by science. So my position, and I posit that these things are not natural animals at all. They're partly human, either chimeras or demonic manifestations that can become physical when they want. You know, everybody says, well, if it's a demon, how they become physical? Well, read the Bible.
Yeah.
It tells you that they became physical and laid with the daughters of men because they thought they were so fair, and they started having all these misbegotten, unintended creatures, you know. So it's all in the Bible. It's there to read, black and white and red. And the question is, will you believe it when you read it? Or will you even understand it when you read it? You know, sometimes when you read the Bible, the few people that actually do anymore, and just like I used to do, I'd come to a passage where I did not understand that, or it was atypical to what the world had taught me, and I wouldn't think about it much, and go on about my life, and go on reading just to say I read the Bible. Yeah. But reading the Bible is not the same as understanding it. So you go to those things that you don't understand, and you start looking and searching for answers, and all answers lead to one place. All true answers lead to one place.
And I will
Thank
say
you very
that,
much, Josh. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Josh. I will say this, Barton. I'll shut up.
How you doing, Josh? How you doing, bro?
I got one more thing to say because I didn't. I'm taking too much of Chris's airtime.
You're good.
I will say this: I cannot wait to sit around a campfire with you, brother, whether it's in Kentucky or wherever we be, and pick your brain, man.
Yeah,
because for me, very enlightening. Yeah, and it gets me thinking even more, you know. And I'm one that likes to think out of the box and explore other avenues. Sure. And you're certainly a person that
there is no box, brother. There's no box unless you create it for yourself.
A box is enclosed.
Yeah,
that's correct. That's
so everybody's, you know, they're running around and they're talking about going down a rabbit hole with this one.
Yeah,
and everybody's talking about going down the rabbit hole. Well, I've been down there for decades, and I can tell you all. If I save you 5 minutes of your life searching, then I've done a service to you, and I can tell you what's at the bottom of the rabbit hole. There's two things at the bottom of that rabbit hole, and the things are God and Satan. That's it. They're both down there waiting for you. So when you get to the bottom, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
That's I like
real quick. The conversation like we were talking about tonight with the UFOs and stuff. If anybody missed our last night's show with Jason McLean, we talk a lot about that on there. So everything you said, like really, it does make sense. It resonates.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad. Most people would dismiss it as being narrow-minded or whatever, but really it's
Yeah.
The simplest answer is usually the most correct answer, according to Occam's razor, and a lot of the intellectually minded people, they'll use it Occam's razor, but only when it suits them.
Yeah.
To them, Occam's razor says that Bigfoot isn't real,
Yeah.
and because 100,000 people are lying. Well, no, Occam's razor actually says it's a lot simpler to believe that Bigfoot is real than 100,000 people all be lying. So, well, they like to misuse that, and everyone has their logical fallacies and their cognitive dissonance to overcome. So, once you overcome that, the answer's
Krista,
there.
you're muted again, Krista.
Sorry about that. I
No,
have a dog that's deciding to play with his toys, so I have to mute myself when I start hearing it. So, but Bart, I do appreciate you coming on and doing this for me.
Be welcome, hon. It's probably the last interview I'll be giving for a while. A lot of people might be wondering why I got off of social media, and it's simply because I have so much to do and I'm so far behind. I have a book to finish up about my family's experience in Spotsville, Kentucky. And I'm 6 or 8 videos behind on my YouTube. And so social media right now has become an unnecessary distraction, and I need to do a lot of work and get it done as soon as I can. So I'm more than likely to be back to social media when I'm ready. And
Sure.
Until then, everybody has my number, my close friends and family. They have my number and get a hold of me that way.
And also, you have you're going to be doing live shows every Wednesday.
Yeah, I still have my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be using my free time instead of wasting it on Facebook. I'll be using it to make more content for the channel and extra content for the members and the member tiers. So,
Yep.
You guys come check it out if you want.
Actually, Barton, you're going to be wasting more time when I start blowing up your phone now with all the questions I have. But I'll save it for our campsite chat. How's that?
All right, brother. Never a waste of time talking to a friend.
Thank you. And you're a friend as well.
Yep. Bart, hang around for a minute. Don't hang up after the show's over, okay?
Okay.
And real quick, I want to thank Sherry Griffey and Blazer for being new members, and Bigfoot Michigan Rob, Derek Galloway, and Josh Turner for the super chats. Appreciate all of that and all of you. Thank you very much.
Great people right there.
Yes, absolutely. And now that our show is over, everybody tune over to Paranormal Roundtable. They are going live, and it'll be a fabulous show as well, as usual. So we appreciate everybody tonight.
Great entertainment for Friday night.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, it is. And real quick, BMR, your book, where can they find that real quick?
You can find my book, Bigfoot Michigan Rob Presents True Cryptid Encounters, book one on Amazon. The link is, for those of you that have subscribed to my channel, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, the link is there. But also, if you go on Amazon, just type in Bigfoot Michigan Rob, the book pulls up. In fact, my book pulls up next to Barton, Nunnelly, and Josh Turner I just saw yesterday. And I was very, I said,
well, it looks like
look at that.
Looks like I'm in good company there then.
Yeah, it's great company. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It took me by surprise, so that's pretty cool. And
Yeah,
it's there. And thanks to everybody that has bought it. I do appreciate that. And again, subscribe to the Blondes and Boos Paranormal Podcast. They're on Thursday and Friday nights. Barton Nunnelly's coming out. Great videos Wednesday. Of course, you all know about PRT and Josh, and Texas Front Porch as well. So thanks to everybody, man. Thanks for having me co-host tonight, Krista.
Yep, I got dogs barking, so
you got it. Perfect time to end the show.
I apologize for that, but thank you, everybody. We appreciate everybody, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
Well, everybody have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
All right.